Now guys, we're on site today right here in North Myrtle Beach at the Atlantic Winds Condominiums. It's going to be that building right there and that building right there. We're going to hop into commercial real estate investing. I'm going to cover a 5-year projection with you. We're going to go through how this unit is going to perform over the next 5 years. We're going to talk about net present value. I mean, all the major metrics and the information that you need to make a savvy investment decision you're going to see. We're going to take some tours of these units. Obviously, we're going to talk to the caretaker out here who takes care of these properties, John, a U.S. veteran. Thank you for your service, John. God bless America. This video is going to be chocked full of the investment analysis that you need to make a savvy investment decision. And I'm going to show you how these properties right here over the course of the next 5 years are going to make as much as $871,000 in appreciation. Yes, I'm going to cover all of your numbers. We're going to walk through everything, basically your taxable income and how that's going to play out, how it's going to impact your taxes over the next 5 years, your cost recovery, how much you can write off in depreciation. We're going to talk about how much you can write off in interest on your mortgage payments. You name it, it's going to be here. And we're going to analyze all your cash flow. We're going to see how is this going to impact my bank account over the next 5 years. You name it, it's in this video. Now, I want your next commercial investment to go well for you. And if it's your first commercial investment, then I definitely don't want it to be a flop. So you got to watch this video to the end so that you get the information that you need and the insight that you need on commercial real estate deals like these two buildings right back behind me, so that you make a savvy investment decision and that your next investment isn't a flop. And if it's your first investment, I definitely don't want it to be a flop because it will set you back. And then you can't get your second property because the financials don't work out well on whatever property you buy. And then you're all stifled and you're frustrated. You think maybe investing is not for you. I mean, when you could have just partnered with a solid and professional real estate broker that is a CCIM candidate. I'm a certified commercial investment member candidate right now that can run the right analysis for you, that knows how to get these deals done and make sure that you come out on top. You could have partnered with somebody like me. I could have got all the hurdles answered for you. We could have done solid due diligence on it, ran all the analysis, and make sure that you're crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. And you could go from not being an investor to being an investor in a matter of 60 days. Pick up the phone and give me a call. It's 843-360-1737. I don't want to hold us up. Let's get into this video now. You'd like to invest in commercial real estate. I'd like to show you how these properties make profit and break down all their expenses so you understand how they operate, how they appreciate over time, and how this will impact your taxes. I'd also like to let you know the property's cap rate and how it compares with similar properties in the market, how the location best services its users, and the potential for future growth. I'd like to fill you in on the historical and future occupancy trends, as well as potential management structures affecting the investment. And we won't miss the investment's risk profile nor the best exit strategies. Yes, we'll cover the condition of the property, any value add potential, and repositioning, but we'll also dive into special topics like customer base, market positioning, and marketing and booking strategies when it applies. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'll show you my top picks for the best commercial real estate deals that have generated the most annual profits, have the highest appreciation, and the best tax implications. So no matter if you're a first-time investor or a seasoned professional transitioning into the real estate game, or perhaps simply a casual investor looking to relocate to the beach to live, play, and invest so that the passive income can support you in your retirement years, whether you have 20% to pay down because you're financing or you're a cash buyer, if it's a commercial real estate investment that you're after, you'll be better because I'm aiming to give you a 10 times return on your time for watching my videos until the end. All right, guys, so we're right out front, 4700 South Ocean Boulevard. We're going to take a look around and just check out what's across the street. We've got the summit directly across the street. We've got multiple, as you can see, oceanfront condo resorts. We got Beach Cove way down there. Can you guys see that, Beach Cove? You can kind of look and just see what's around here. It is nothing but oceanfront condo resorts. Now across the street, we have Edgewater Inn directly across the street. As you can see here, it's called the Edgewater Inn. Then outside of that, we've got our units here. Now I'm going to walk us around the outside of this. You can see it well. There's obviously demand. The complex is pretty much rented out except for one unit, I believe. Got stairs along the back leading to the upper unit. This is the unit next door, as you can see here. And then that's the little gate on the side. I believe you should invest in commercial real estate in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because over 90,600 people relocated to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in 2023 alone. This means increased demand for commercial space like retail, multifamily, office, and industrial, and ultimately excellent annual profits and appreciation. Now, for retail, more residents equal more consumers equal higher rental sales potential. This drives up rents and occupancy in retail centers. For multifamily, higher population boosts demand for rental housing, pushing rents up and lowering vacancy. Now, for office, job growth typically follows population growth, increasing demand for office space. For industrial, more people means more consumption and e-commerce activity, increasing warehouse and last mile logistics demand. Ultimately, the return on investment impact is higher rents, lower vacancy, and rising property values that drive higher net operating income and appreciation. I believe you should invest in commercial or real estate in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, especially oceanfront hotels in the hospitality industry because of the 20 to 22 million tourists that visit our market each year, which is the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast. High tourism equals steady demand, making it one of the most visited beach destinations in the United States. Our oceanfront hotels benefit from consistent seasonal occupancy, premium nightly rates compared to inland properties, and repeat visitors including families, snowbirds, and golfers. All right, guys, now this additional building is also part of the Atlantic Winds condominiums. This building here, as you can see. So we're going to take a quick walk around it so you can get well acquainted. See here, this is Seaview Street and Windy Hill parking lot back behind it. And you're seeing nothing but very similar properties all around it pretty much. Lots of vehicles. There are several units open. Correction, there are several units open, so we're going to get into this to a good handful of units here. And you can see here. All right, so let's get in unit number 5, right here at the Atlantic Winds condominiums. Guys, as you can see here, you walk right in, you have tile flooring. You come right in, you do have the table. We do have a nice bed here. As you can see, flat screen TV, some custom cabinetry built in, full refrigerator, you got a cabinet there, microwave, sink. You do have a nice flat top stove, and again, gorgeous cabinetry. And then you have your restroom here with your stand-up shower, as you can see, and a nice vanity. And that pretty much wraps it up for this first unit. All right, now guys, let's get up these stairs and get into unit 3. Now upstairs, you're going to notice there is unit 3 and 4. There's 4 on the right, and then you got 3 on the left here. Now, as soon as you come in, you're in this beautiful wood, absolutely stunning refrigerator, stove, sink, microwave, cabinetry. You got a bar here, as you can see. To the left, we have our first bedroom. Very nice. The bathroom is kind of Jack and Jill-ish. Tile floor. You do have a tub shower combo. All right, and then you have your second bedroom here, as you can see. Plenty of beds to sleep, plenty of heads. All right, guys, there's your living room. As you can see, flat screen TV. You have a dining table. Now, I do want to take you out the front door so you can see this front porch. See this view, guys. Look at this. Chairs here. Right there. Ocean. I mean, come on. South Ocean Boulevard. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And, of course, plenty, as you can see, plenty of space on this front porch. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for a tour of this unit. Let's keep moving. All right, let's get in unit number 4 right here at the Atlantic Winds. Guys, as you can see again, great kitchen, stove, sink, microwave, refrigerator, bar. You have your first bedroom, as you can see here. It's going to connect in again to that Jack and Jill bathroom. We've got a tub shower combo. And then we've got another bedroom. Your living room. Flat screen TV. Dining room table, of course. And of course, another very large balcony. With chairs. All right, guys, well, that wraps it up for this unit. All right, guys, so up top was 3 and 4, and now we're going to go into unit number 2, right here on the bottom floor. As you can see, when you walk in, you have a nice laundry room here, washer and dryer. You come in, you've got a great kitchen, refrigerator, sink, dishwasher, stove, everything you need. We got a guest here, so there's a little bit of stuff out, guys. As you can see here, nice big full-size king bed. You do have the vanity. You got a little linen closet here. We've got a tub shower combo. Again, living room, very, very spacious. Flat screen TV. And then we've got another bedroom here, as you can see, sleeps plenty of heads. And we have another bathroom, vanity here. Oh, wrong side. We've got a tub shower combo here, as you can see. And we have a cool little seating area here. And a closet, a good sized closet. Finally, guys, we have a dining area here, and then another excellent entryway right into the front, as you can see. Well, that wraps it up for this unit right here at the Atlantic Winds Condos. In this video, I've shown you the surrounding area and the condition of the property. highlighted the most exciting components of the deal, and given you a walkthrough of the property as well as any amenities. But next, I'll discuss the cap rate and compare this property to other similar deals on the market so that you can understand how it stacks up in gross rental income and appreciation, seeing the competitive advantage for this particular property. Then I'll discuss the location and its potential for future growth, to include local attractions and their influence, what the historical and future occupancy trends are, as well as management, financing, and tax structures so that you understand how the deal is supported for cash flow and appreciation, and avoid the pitfalls other investors have made. Then I'll cover the risk profile and the exit strategies so that you don't end up holding the bag, and even dive into topics like value add, repositioning, and marketing, with stories and testimonials of how other investors won big after purchasing underperforming assets. Plus, I'll throw in any boots on the ground information you simply can't get anywhere else. Finally, we'll do a 5-year projection on the property that shows the initial investment required to get into the deal, the mortgage data, the taxable income data, and the cash flow data, as well as 3 different cap rate scenarios for when you exit the investment. Oh, and don't miss my top market picks right at the end, based on which properties have appreciated the most and have the best annual profitability. All right, so let's work through cap rates. Myrtle Beach 2023, 8%. 2024, 9%. North Myrtle Beach, 7.5 to 8% in 2023. In 2024, it jumped to 8.5%. Now, that's an average. Now, these reflect the going-in cap rates, which is net operating income divided by the sales price. Of course, depending upon deal specifics and asset quality, the cap rate can vary. Now, Myrtle Beach has seen many older limited service or independent oceanfront motel sales that often traded at the higher end of the average cap rate range. We're talking 9 to 10%, whereas North Myrtle Beach had fewer transactions with indications from the listing data of a median asking cap rate of around 7%. Now, this implies that in North Myrtle Beach, there were higher quality or even newer assets where sellers seek lower yields. All right, so let's dive into what's on the market right here in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach when it comes to hotels. So on the low end, guys, I am seeing a $2.29 million hotel, roughly 8,592 square feet. It has 24 units. We have another one, 3.7 million, 17,000 square feet. We have another one, 4.9, 20,000 square feet. We have a 5 million, 5.2, 7,000 square feet, a little bit smaller. Another 5.2, 24,000 square feet, a 5.8, a 6.1, which is ours. We have a 7.9, which is 35,400. And then we have a 8.8, 48,000 square foot hotel. That 8.8 is roughly 96 units. That's on the high end. So ultimately, we have hotels as low as 2.2 and as high as 8.8. Ours is listed, or excuse me, the listing agents is listed at 6.15, or the hotel that's featured in this video. Now, we have a whopping 50 units. Now, all in all, I want to dive into market saturation and competition. Now, a competitive landscape with sufficient demand but limited supply of oceanfront hotel provides an ideal scenario for hotel investors. North Myrtle Beach has the right balance of competition, enough to ensure a healthy market, but not so much that it leads to oversupply. So as far as coastal regions go, if you're comparing us with like Florida or other areas, guys, Myrtle Beach has the perfect mix. Additionally, we're that value investment. You're going to be able to find this hotel a lot cheaper than you would in Florida. It's just that simple. It's going to be, they're going to make the same amount of money, but they're going to have a lower cost to entry barrier in our market as opposed to Florida or other coastal markets. It's just that simple. We're the value investment. Now, key indicators. Limited new hotel construction. While demand is increasing, there is still a relatively limited amount of prime oceanfront land available for hotel development, ensuring that competition remains in check. There's also a fragmented hotel market. Many small to mid-sized hotels provide opportunities for investors to either consolidate their assets or differentiate their property with unique amenities. I cannot tell you how many properties that are oceanfront or second row that you can buy here, hotels and motels that don't have great amenities. They've got that value add proposition where you can come in, and I see investors do this all the time with oceanfront, with second row multifamily properties that allow for short-term rentals, and possibly even front row oceanfront properties. They come in, they buy these older, underperforming assets, they put in a pool, they put in an elevator, they put in a movie theater, they upgrade it, and then they've got a rock star property that's renting out very, very well, and they can charge a premium for it. I mean, there are tons of value-added opportunities right here in Myrtle Beach. Now, North Myrtle Beach in the Myrtle Beach market, period, which includes North Myrtle Beach, Surfside Beach, Garden City, on into Pawleys Island and Merrill's Inlet. Now, North Myrtle Beach has seen modest growth in new hotel development with a focus on high-quality boutique hotels rather than mass market chains, allowing for differentiation in the market. I'm telling you guys, it's a prime opportunity for somebody to buy this for the value add that it is. Put in those rock star amenities, get that property rolling with excellent management, and boom, sell it at a premium 5 years up the road. Now stay tuned, because coming up in the rest of the video, I'll discuss the location and its potential for future growth, to include local attractions and their influence, what the historical and future occupancy trends are, as well as management, financing, and tax structures, so that you understand how the deal was supported for cash flow and depreciation, and avoid the pitfalls other investors have made. All right, guys, so let's talk about the surrounding area. Now, this zip code is 29582, right here in North Myrtle Beach. For the zip code, the median sales price is $275,000. You'll see for the city, the median sales price is the same. It's $275,000. For the county, it's $230,000. So it's significantly higher than the average, than the median sale price of a home in the county. Now, for the nation, that median sales price is $308,980. All that being said, it is a little bit under the national median sales price, but it's not significantly under it. So you can tell that this zip code is a great zip code that's thriving. This is not like the slums, or it's not like a bad area, anything like that, guys. You can see just by the median sales price of the home that the zip code itself is robust. What this means for you is it's a future projection of appreciation. Essentially, if the zip code is keeping pace with the nation, well, you know that the property is going to continue to increase in value. Now, is there ever a guarantee on the future? No. At the same token, we can look at how the zip code is doing currently in comparison with both the city and the county and the national level to kind of see, hey, is it trending in the same direction? Is it consistent? Obviously, if this zip code was, tanking and the nation is going up, you might not want to invest in that place. On the flip side, it might make for a savvy investment. Of course, you have to get into the specifics of the deal. But the point is this. Ultimately, when you see that the zip code is trending consistently with the nation, then you're going to know, hey, these properties are appreciating. Things are on an upward trend. They will most likely continue to appreciate just like the national market is doing. So it's a signal that, hey, this place has great growth. My investment's safe, and it's keeping pace with what the rest of the national market's doing. All right, let's talk about property taxes. 2023, the city taxes were $1,438.20. The county taxes were $5,890.23. you can see a total tax there of $7,328.43. And you can see in 2020, it was again in that 7,000 range, 2019, 6,000, 2018, 6,000. And, you know, you can basically see that steady trend as it's ticked upwards since 2010. That simple and that easy, guys. Our place is excellent. Our tax is excellent in South Carolina. So, you know, in most other places, these taxes would be exuberant. No, this is not $7,000 a month. This is $7,000 for the year. Yes, it's that cheap. All right, so let's work through the favorable tax environment right here in South Carolina. Now, commercial properties in South Carolina, like multifamily assets, are taxed at a 6% property tax rate as opposed to a 4% primary residence tax rate. Now, millage rates vary by county and municipality. Horry County offers competitive commercial property taxes, often resulting in favorable long-term holding costs compared to other southeastern coastal regions. So essentially, guys, our market is very, very favorable when it comes to taxes, especially when compared to other coastal markets. You're going to find out that we're the value buy. Honestly, we're going to have a cheaper cost to entry. The purchase price is going to be cheaper than a lot of places in Florida and other coastal places, even in North Carolina. So we're going to be a lot cheaper. We're going to be that value buy. You're going to get the most for the money in our market when compared to other markets. Now, one other thing I want to point out is if you're using this property for short-term vacation rentals, which it's currently being used that way, there is something called local accommodations and hospitality tax. Essentially, that's going to be a total of 3%. It's going to be 1.5% to the city of North Myrtle Beach, 1.5% to Horry County of the gross rental income on the property. Additionally, you are going to have a business license to operate a short-term vacation rental business in Myrtle Beach, and you're going to have to pay for excise tax. It's going to be basically a base fee of $145 for the first $2,000 in gross rental income that you make. Then for every $1,000 that you make after that, it's going to be $6. That simple and that easy. That is for your use in fire department, police services, and the like. So let's work through the favorable tax environment right here in South Carolina. Now, commercial properties in South Carolina, like multifamily assets, are taxed at a 6% property tax rate as opposed to a 4% primary residence tax rate. Now, millage rates vary by county and municipality. Horry County offers competitive commercial property taxes, often resulting in favorable long-term holding costs compared to other southeastern coastal regions. So essentially, guys, our market is very, very favorable when it comes to taxes, especially when compared to other coastal markets. You're going to find out that we're the value buy. Honestly, we're going to have a cheaper cost to entry. The purchase price is going to be cheaper than a lot of places in Florida and other coastal places, even in North Carolina. So we're going to be a lot cheaper. We're going to be that value buy. You're going to get the most for the money in our market when compared to other markets. Now, one other thing that I want to point out is, as far as property management goes, obviously you could manage this property yourself. You would maximize your profits that way, hands down. I think it would be minimal work. We're talking 15 minutes a day, maybe 30 minutes if you got into some serious stuff that you had to handle. If something broke, you had to call a handyman out, or an HVAC system went out, of course, you'd have to call a contractor and have them come out there. You want to check prices on Airbnb to make sure that they're consistent, you know, stuff like that. Yes, 15, 30 minutes of work a day, I would say at most. Self-managing. Definitely maximize your profit. If you don't want to do that, you definitely can find a property manager in that 20% of gross rental income range. For sure, that would take care of you, and they'd manage it for you. Now, there's currently a caretaker on the property. Obviously, we could see if you'd like to keep that same arrangement in place, since he lives on site, since he's there, and it's obviously been working for the previous owner. So here are the attractions that create the strongest draw for your guests. Now, Barefoot Landing in North Myrtle Beach is a vibrant waterfront destination that seamlessly blends shopping, dining, and entertainment. Now, set along the Intercoastal Waterway, this expansive complex features over 100 specialty shops and boutiques, offering everything from fashion and accessories to unique gifts and coastal treasures. Culinary enthusiasts can indulge in a diverse array of restaurants, including the upscale Greg Norman Australian Grill, the lively Lulu's Beach Arcade and Ropes Course, and the family-friendly Crooked Hammock Brewery, known for its craft beers and relaxed atmosphere. Entertainment options abound with venues like the Alabama Theater, showcasing musical performances, and the House of Blues, hosting concerts and events. Now, families can explore attractions like Alligator Adventure, one of the largest reptile facilities in the world, or enjoy seasonal events like Summerfest and holiday fireworks. Whether you're seeking a leisurely stroll, a shopping spree, or an evening of live entertainment, Barefoot Landing offers a memorable experience for visitors of all ages. Now, the Greg Rouse Legacy Theater is a premier entertainment venue that offers a unique and intimate live performance experience. Founded by acclaimed entertainer Greg Rouse, the theater showcases a variety of shows, including the popular Music and Memories series, which features a world-class cast and band performing beloved songs from past decades. Each performance is 100% live and changes nightly, ensuring a fresh experience for returning guests. The theater has been recognized as WMBF's Best Show of the Grand Strand in 2024, highlighting its commitment to quality entertainment. With a seating capacity of 800, the venue provides an intimate setting that fosters a sense of community and connection between performers and the audience. In addition to its diverse musical offerings, the theater honors military personnel and first responders with special discounts, and during the summer offers promotions such as 2 free child tickets with the purchase of an adult ticket. The Greg Rouse Legacy Theater stands as a testament to Rouse's dedication to creating memorable, family-friendly entertainment that resonates with audiences of all ages. Pirates Voyage. Now, guys, they are doing acrobatics. It's a red team and a blue team of pirates, and they are jumping in the water. They are playing with fire. They are getting all of the guests involved. It is a dinner show, and while you're having dinner and they're serving you great food, they're getting you involved in what they're doing. It is a lot of fun. Your kids, your family is going to enjoy it so much. You don't want to miss the Pirates Voyage. The Alabama Theater, nestled in North Myrtle Beach, Barefoot Landing, has been a premier entertainment venue since its inception in 1993 by the renowned country music band Alabama. Celebrated as the #1 live entertainment theater in the area, it offers a diverse array of performances that captivate audiences of all ages. From February through October, the theater showcases its signature variety show, Iconic, a dynamic production featuring a blend of country, pop, rock, and Broadway hits, complemented by state-of-the-art visuals and choreography. As the holiday season approaches, the venue transforms to present the South's grandest Christmas show, a festive extravaganza filled with traditional and contemporary holiday music, dance, and comedy. Throughout the year, the Alabama Theater also hosts an impressive lineup of guest artists, including notable names like Josh Turner, the Oak Ridge Boys, and Jay Leno, ensuring a memorable experience for every visitor. With its commitment to high-quality performances and family-friendly atmosphere, the Alabama Theater remains a must-visit destination for those seeking top-tier entertainment in the Grand Strand region. Now, guys, the House of Blues in North Myrtle Beach, located at Barefoot Landing, is a premier entertainment venue that combines live music, Southern-inspired cuisine, and vibrant atmosphere. Established in 1997, this 59,000-square-foot facility features a 2-level music hall with a standing capacity of 3,500 and seating for 500 people, hosting a variety of concerts and events throughout the year. Now, the venue includes a restaurant and a bar that offers signature dishes like voodoo shrimp and jambalaya, alongside craft cocktails and an extensive beer selection. Additional spaces, such as the deck, provide outdoor seating with live music and happy hour specials. With its unique blend of music, food, and art, the House of Blues offers an unforgettable experience for visitors and locals alike. The Carolina Opry Theater is right here in Myrtle Beach, not North Myrtle Beach, but it's close enough to North Myrtle Beach for you to go. So basically, it's a premier entertainment venue renowned for its high energy variety shows that blend music, comedy, and dance. Founded by Calvin Gilmore in 1986, the theater has been a cornerstone of Myrtle Beach's live entertainment scene, offering performances that feature a cast of over 35 talented artists. Notable shows include the award-winning The Carolina Opry, the nostalgic Time Warp, and the festive Carolina Opry Christmas Special, each delivering a unique and captivating experience. The theater's luxurious setting, equipped with state-of-the-art lighting and sound systems, ensure an unforgettable experience for audiences of all ages. Recognized as a top attraction in Myrtle Beach by CNBC, the Carolina Opry continues to be a must-visit destination for visitors seeking top-tier entertainment along the Grand Strand. Now, for all you golf enthusiasts, you do not want to miss Barefoot Resort and Golf. Now, it's right there in North Myrtle Beach. It is a premier golf destination featuring 4 championship courses designed by renowned architects Greg Norman, Davis Love, Tom Fazio, and Pete Dye. Now, each course offers a unique golfing experience. The Norman course showcases 7 holes along the Intercoastal Waterway. The Love course incorporates recreated plantation ruins. The Fazio course is nestled among lakes and trees, and the Dye course presents a challenging layout with native grasses and white sand features. The resort provides a variety of accommodations, including golf villas and yacht club condos, and offers stay-and-play packages with seasonal specials. Conveniently located near Barefoot Landing, guests have easy access to shopping, dining, and entertainment options, making it an ideal destination for both golf enthusiasts and vacationers. Azalea Sands Golf Club, guys, located right there in North Myrtle Beach. As you can imagine, it is stunning. Now, it's an 18-hole par 72 course designed by Gene Ham in 1972. Known for its wide fairways, well-bunkered greens, and strategically placed lakes that come into play on 8 holes, the course offers a pure golf experience without residential distractions. Recent renovations have enhanced the clubhouse, pro shop, and dining facilities, providing a welcoming atmosphere for all golfers. With 6 sets of tees accommodating various skill levels and amenities like a putting green and chipping area, Azalea Sands is a must-visit for those seeking a relaxed yet engaging round of golf in the Grand Strand region. All right, guys, the Arcadian Shores Golf Club is technically located in Myrtle Beach, but it's close enough to make it work for you. Is a classic Rees-Jones design that has captivated golfers since its opening in 1974. As Jones's first solo project, the course masterfully integrates natural elements like live oaks, strategically placed lakes, and 64 bunkers into a challenging yet enjoyable layout. Stretching 6,857 yards from the championship tees with a par of 72, it offers a test for low handicappers while remaining accessible to players of all skill levels through multiple tee options. Notably, holes 2 and number 13 have been repeatedly recognized among the Grand Strand's Dream 18 for their memorable design and strategic demands. Recent renovations, including the installation of a Sunday Ultra Dwarf Bermuda greens and a new clubhouse, have enhanced the playing experience, solidifying Arcadian Shores' reputation as a must-play golf course right here in Myrtle Beach area. Now let's work through financing. Essentially, guys, you have 3 different options. You've got a conventional commercial mortgage, you've got DSCR loans, which in my opinion are probably going to be the most favorable and most likely, and then you have private funding or private lending. Now, given the fact that this property is an existing rental, and if you already have experience as an investor, if you already own an investment property, they're most likely going to count the rental income on the property towards underwriting. So ultimately, especially in DSCR loans, you won't even have to provide, financials. They don't even have to take an in-depth look at you so long as the property is making positive cash flow and can cover the mortgage. It's that simple and that easy. So if you've got the down payment money and the right credit score, they don't even have to really look at a lot of your financials. You can just get right into this investment. Now stay tuned, because coming up in the rest of the video, I'll cover the risk profile and the exit strategies so that you don't end up holding the bag, and even dive into topics like value add, repositioning, and marketing, with stories and testimonials of how other investors won big after purchasing underperforming assets. Plus, I'll throw in any boots on the ground information you simply can't get anywhere else. Finally, we'll do a 5-year projection on the property that shows the initial investment required to get into the deal, the mortgage data, the taxable income data, and the cash flow data, as well as 3 different cap rate scenarios for when you exit the investment. Oh, and don't miss my top market picks right at the end, based on which properties have appreciated the most and have the best annual profitability. Let's talk through that risk profile. Now, this property carries moderate investment risk, primarily due to its age. It was built in 1954. You are going to see an interview with the caretaker of the property where he talks about how solid this structure is and how awesome it is. He actually references that as a strong point to it, that it is built very, very well. It has great bones. Now, obviously, age is definitely a risk, and also the required renovations to the property, and its dependence on tourism, which is seasonal. So some people might look at that as risk compared to like a long-term rental property where people are signing a 12-month contract. Obviously, because this is seasonal, it's because it's based on short-term vacation rentals, it's going to be dependent upon disposable income. So as the economy goes up and down, obviously vacations are going to go up and down. So there is a little bit of risk there for sure. If the economy takes a tank, disposable income goes down, people are going to stop going on vacation. It's that simple and that easy. Now, on the flip side, vacation, this is the number 2 vacation destination on the East Coast. Vacations have been happening here on our oceanfront since the 1930s. So do I think that the market is going to stop going on vacation? No. Especially with baby boomers making up over 40% of Airbnb rentals last year, and they're retiring at the rate of $10,000 per day. They're traveling, and they're traveling. That's almost half of all Airbnb rentals. So do I think that's going to slow down anytime soon? No. The baby boomers are America's wealthiest generation in history, and they're also the largest. So we have a huge section of the population, almost half of it, that's traveling. So in my opinion, I don't feel like there's very much risk when it comes to short-term vacation rentals in the number 2 vacation destination on the East Coast, hands down. However, other people might see that as risk. I see the upside potential, and I see the shift that's taking place in our population with such a large part of our population retiring, knowing that they're spending money on traveling. I think you're safe. I mean, there's just no way around that. Now, all right, so so let's just talk through it. The property carries moderate investment risk, primarily due to its age. Built in 1954, required renovations, and dependence on seasonal tourism in North Myrtle Beach. However, risk is partially mitigated by location, being 1 block from beach access, and the demand for both short-term vacation rentals and long-term multifamily housing. Key risks include regulatory shifts in short-term rental zoning, which I don't think that's going to happen being a block from the beach. That whole area is zoned for short-term rentals. It's probably never going to change because it's a huge part of Myrtle Beach's economy, and I doubt that they're going to change the law and hurt our local economy. Now, key risks include regulatory shifts in short-term zoning, capital expenditures for HVAC and plumbing modernization. Obviously, that stuff is pretty standard. Maybe the plumbing, the HVAC, you can expect to replace those every once in a while, every 15, 20 years, hopefully, maybe every 10 years. And then your plumbing, yes, you would have to update that plumbing. That might not be a cost that you would have on another investment property. Proper due diligence and contingency budgeting are crucial, of course. When you're purchasing an older property that is aged like this, you want to make sure that you have a reserve fund for any of those issues that go on with it, like plumbing or HVAC systems that have to be replaced. All in all, I don't find this property a very risky property at all. Obviously, it could use some value add, which we're going to get into next. Value add and repositioning. This property is a textbook value add opportunity, ideal for repositioning into a boutique short-term rental complex or premium midterm housing. With 7 total units across 2 buildings and walking access to the beach, targeted renovations such as modernizing the interiors, enhancing curb appeal, and upgrading HVAC can significantly increase that average daily rate and occupancy. Now, marketing the property as a coastal micro resort or luxury surfside retreat on platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com would attract higher paying guests and unlock new revenue streams. Strategic branding and local partnerships could further solidify market presence. Guys, in my opinion, you could turn this place into a gold mine. The location itself is phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, it's walking distance to, we're a block from the beach, literally. You're surrounded by oceanfront condo or resorts. Now, how many people don't want to deal with all the hustle and bustle or families at these oceanfront condo or resorts? There's a whole market of people that would like to stay close to the beach, walking distance to the beach, golf cart ride to the beach, but not actually at a resort because they don't want to deal with all the families and all the noise and they don't want all that. So I think it's an excellent opportunity, Additionally, if you revamp it right, you could rent it multiple ways. In other words, you could rent it as, 2 5-bedroom units, or, so obviously you could rent them and advertise them as single units that could be rented out for sure, while you're also advertising it in its whole to attract larger groups, which obviously could bring you a premium. Exit strategies. Okay, so exit strategies for this North Myrtle Beach multifamily property include multiple viable paths depending on the investor's timeline and repositioning success. Again, we're taking advantage of that value add opportunity. This presupposes that. Now, a short to midterm exit could involve stabilizing the asset through renovations and improved rental income, then selling to a short-term rental operator or investor targeting coastal income producing properties. Now, this happens all the time in our market. People buy underperforming assets, whether it's a multifamily property, a hotel, an oceanfront condo. Our market is ripe with these type of opportunities. If you're interested in doing fix and flip work and you can hold the property for 12 to 24 months, then this is a very viable strategy for you. Now, really quick, I want to just dive into the definitions of a short-term versus a midterm exit or hold. Now, give me 1 second, guys. I'm pulling it up. Now, short-term exit typically is 12 to 24 months. This is ideal for investors looking to quickly renovate, stabilize operations, which, obviously convert it to a short-term use if that's possible due to zoning, and resell at a higher evaluation, also known as a fix and flip or short-term reposition. Now, a midterm exit is typically 3 to 5 years. This allows time to implement value-add improvements, optimize rental income, season the property's financials, and potentially refinance before selling. It strikes a balance between capital growth and cash flow. Now, a longer-term exit, which we're just about to get into, that's going to be 7 to 10 years. Now, this strategy focuses on maximizing appreciation. It's playing that long game because there's a lot more reward in it, depending upon how you look at it. Let's kind of dive into that. So if I'm playing that long game as far as appreciation, I'm counting on cashing in big on this property. So I do a lot of work up front to the property. I hold it and I cash in. I recently came across a property that appreciated $4.7 million. That's $478,000 a year. It appreciated over a 10-year span. That's a pretty cool strategy. I like it. Now, some other people have the mind that if they get in there quickly and they fix and flip it, they do 12 to 24 months or even 3 to 5 years, they can use that money that they've made in a better opportunity. So if you have other opportunities on the table that can make you a substantial amount of money, then it would be advantageous for you to do that fix and flip strategy. If you don't have opportunities on the table that can bring you a higher return on investment, then it might be smarter for you to buy the property and hold the property for that 7 to 10 year period, just doing all the initial work up front and banking on that appreciation. Additionally, if you don't want to do and have hands-on all the work of doing fix and flips and having constant oversight on projects, and you'd rather the investment to be more passive, then the long-term 7 to 10 years appreciation strategy is going to be a more viable option for you. Now, alternatively, the property could be refinanced after value-add improvements to pull out equity and retain long-term cash flow. A longer-term exit may include a portfolio sale with other nearby short-term rental units, or a 1031 exchange into a larger commercial asset with higher yield potential. Obviously, 1031s are very, very, very exciting and a lot of fun. Do I think that they're the best path forward? No. If you want to know why, call me, text me, 843-360-1737. All right, so anyways, given the location, demand trends, and flexibility in use, this property is well positioned for both yield-driven and appreciation-driven exit strategies. And guys, that sums it up. When you're getting into the investment game, you have to know what your exit strategy is before you ever get into the investment. And you have to have worked through the different scenarios and alternatives of how you could exit that property when the market shifts, because generally the market does shift and things change. So it's very good initially, before you even get into this investment, you have to know what your end goal is, what you're aiming to do, what you're working towards, what you're building, so that you find a strategy that's going to work best for you. All right, I'm going to tell you a quick story about Yvonne. She's one of my favorite clients. She bought a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom oceanfront condo at the Ocean Reef. It was making $104,400 when she bought it the previous year. She remodeled it. She did a stellar job doing it. She used our contractors. We helped her. 2.5 months, it was off the market. She made $140,000 the first year. She increased the gross rental income by $36,000. This is the same exact principle that's used with multifamily properties, hotels, any property. You find an underperforming asset. You find out where there's opportunity in the market. You make an investment there. You increase the rental potential, the gross rental income on the property, and you cause the property to increase in value by simply improving it. It's that simple and that easy, guys, and people do it all the time. All right, John, so talk to me as to why this unit makes such a great rental.
Well, it's been on the beach for a number of years, built in the 50s as far as I know. It's got a good return rate from people that come back year after year. To mention a couple, we have one lady that's been coming back for 15 years during the winter for 2 months. We have another couple that comes back during the winter for 3 months from as far away as Maine, and they've been happy with it. We accept dogs up to a certain limit.
Which is a huge one.
It is a huge one. As far as I know, we're only one of 2 places on this area of the beach.
Yeah, so guys, you can't find places that allow you to bring dogs and rent out. I mean, and you're going to spend, thousands of dollars boarding a dog to come for a few weeks.
We don't charge for any extra for the dog itself, like many places that do take animals. However, sometimes there's a deposit involved for an animal.
Absolutely.
If they don't do any damage, then their deposit's refunded, usually within 7 business days. Our rates are a little better than the big high rises across the street.
Yeah, so I want to dive into that. So, this is the Atlantic condominiums. It's a hotel/motel, 2 buildings, and we're surrounded by tons of oceanfront condo resorts. So why would people rent here as opposed to all of the oceanfront condo resorts around here?
Well, you don't have to go up down 10 floors on an elevator, for one thing.
Come on.
We don't furnish a swimming pool here, and obviously we don't have room, as you can see. However, I got the biggest one in the world across the street.
the ocean.
Yep.
But it is cheaper to rent here, though.
Yes.
So you're attracting those budget-friendly people that don't care about all the on-site amenities and all the stuff. There's a market for them here.
There is, but we don't attract just them. I have people drive up in Cadillacs every day.
Yeah.
And sports cars and stuff.
Yeah.
They just choose it because it's here.
So can I ask you, when do you see the bulk of the rentals come through?
We're starting our season now.
Yep.
Basically. May starts it with bike week and stuff. Bike weeks have been slow this year in particular because people don't want to put up with the noise.
Come on.
We don't have a lot of it here. During the Atlantic Bike Fest, we do because it's local to us and it's a few blocks up the road. It's a quiet area. I've been here for a little over 5 years, and I live here 24/7. I work out of the garage where I have a shop and stuff to do the repairs and maintain the property, which is not a big deal, but it is a big deal. We don't have a lot of heavy duty stuff. I can tell you that both roofs on both buildings were replaced within the last 2.5 years. All of our air conditioners, 4 on the roof and 2 behind, have all been replaced within the last 2.5 years.
Wow.
So some of the major stuff is done. I've replaced a water heater, different things like that in units as they come due and need changing.
He is the caretaker, not the property manager.
The other 2 units are more modern that don't have on the film, but have pictures of, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit of about 800 square foot, but it's comfortable.
Yep.
Has a great view of the ocean. Number 7 above me is also more modern, drywalled, etc. Finished property without the wood look. That's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
Yep.
A lot of stairs to get up there, but it's worth it for the view.
Yeah, absolutely. And the website that they can go to see the rental prices, the average daily rates that are charged, that's Atlantic Wind Condominiums.
Atlantic Winds.
Winds with an S.
Condos.com.
AtlanticWindsCondos.com. And that's winds with an S.
Yes.
And condos with an S.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, all of your experience here, any kind of major crime or issues like that?
No. We were, in my estimation, a very safe area and a quieter area than the rest of North Myrtle Beach because we're a dead end, for one thing, down here at 48th Avenue. We have good police presence. I have been known to leave my garage door open all night long, and I've never had anything come up missing.
Wow. Very, very safe, guys. Now, can you talk to us about North Myrtle Beach? And, what's it like over here? Because Myrtle Beach obviously has a lot more tourism. What are your thoughts on North Myrtle Beach as it comes to tourism?
I think we're doing pretty darn good. The bike week, the Harley Bike Week, they got rid of back 3 years ago, maybe. It moved down to Murrells Inlet. It was a traffic congestion nightmare for us, as it is during Atlantic Bike Fest, but they're here a week and they're gone. Tourism is built here. There are people, as I said, that I just mentioned a couple of the people that come back here. We have some people coming in tomorrow in unit number 1 for a week. They're return guests. Probably, I'm guessing, but I think a pretty good guess, we've got probably a return guest rate of 50% plus.
Wow.
On our people. Part of it's due to the fact it's been here a long time. I saw this building the first time in 1961 when I was in the service at Fort Bragg.
Wow.
And the rest of them weren't here.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
God bless America, for sure. Okay, so North Myrtle Beach compared to Myrtle Beach, a little bit more laid back, a little bit chill, quieter. Would you say it's safer?
Yes, absolutely, without question. We, up until a couple of years ago, had a dog. My wife could go out at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and I was comfortable.
Absolutely. Well, guys, you're hearing it from the caretaker, not the property manager, the caretaker right here at the Atlantic Winds Condos. Guys, I mean, obviously, phenomenal deal right here, 1 block away from the beach. You can see the sand in the ocean from the balcony. Yep. There's a little split through some of those oceanfront condo resorts, but excellent deal. Get in contact with me. It's 843-360-1737. Now stay tuned, because coming up in the rest of the video, we'll do a 5-year projection on the property that shows the initial investment required to get into the deal. The mortgage data, the taxable income data, and the cash flow data, as well as 3 different cap rate scenarios for when you exit the investment. Oh, and don't miss my top market picks right at the end, based on which properties have appreciated the most and have the best annual profitability. All right, guys, so let's work through the cash flow analysis worksheet. Now, this worksheet is 4 different sections. You've got your top section, I'm going to cover first. Then you have your mortgage data in the second section. Next, you have your taxable income section. That's how the investment impacts you on your taxes. And then finally, you have your cash flow section. That is the money that is actually hitting your account. So let's start at the top. Now, it's purchase price at $1.6 million. There aren't any acquisition costs. There aren't any broker's fees, guys. So there's no acquisition cost to pay. Your loan fees were $24,000. That's 2% of the loan amount, which is $1.2 million, which is basically 75% of the purchase price. You're paying down on this property at least 25% in order to get the financing. Your initial investment was $424,000. That's that 25% down plus the $24,000 in loan fees. All right, so let's cover that mortgage data. Now, your loan amount was $1.2 million. That's roughly 75% of the purchase price because you are paying 25% down. Your interest rate was 6.5%. Your amortization period was 25 years. Your loan term is 5 years. Your payments per year were 12. Your periodic payment, that's your monthly payment, was $8,102.49. Your annual debt service, that's 12 months worth of payments, was $97,229.88. And then finally, your loan fees or loan cost for $24,000. That is 2% of that $1.2 million loan amount. Now, this next section of the worksheet covers the taxable income. This is how things are impacting you according to your taxes. It is not your cash flow. Your cash flow is going to be what is actually hitting your account. That's the money hitting your account. But your taxable income section, this is going to be exactly how things are going to play out according to your taxes. Now, your first column there is potential rental income. It's for year 1. I've ran a 5-year projection, year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, based on a 2% escalation of both the operating expenses and the gross rental income. Now, we all know that if you do some remodeling to these units, you can significantly increase that gross rental income beyond the numbers that I wrote. So this is a very conservative estimate. Now, year 1, I've got you at a potential rental income of $272,162. Your vacancy and credit losses were $68,041. So I've got you having a 60% occupancy rate with 40% of the year you not renting that unit out. Now, that vacancy is going to drop you to an effective rental income of $204,122. Now, your gross operating income, again, was $204,122. I've skipped your other income, which is, let's say they had a billboard sign or something here that they were collecting other income for. We could include that, but in this instance, they don't have that. So your gross operating income was $204,122. Your operating expenses were $84,122. If you take that away from the gross operating income, you are going to be left with a whopping $120,000 worth of net operating income. Now, your interest for the first year was $77,417. That interest payment is a tax write-off. And you'll see on the worksheet, I've went ahead and calculated your interest for the entire 5-year projections. Now, your cost recovery, I've got you at the first year being able to write off as much as $5,358. Now, what I did was I went into the courthouse records and I checked what the assessed value was for the property. I looked at the land value and I looked at the improvements, and I simply did a simple calculation to figure out basically the percentage of improvements, the assessed value percentage of improvements on the property, and I multiplied that by the amount that we're going to pay for the property plus any acquisition cost to come up with what you can write off on this property. Then next, I very simply pulled up the IRS tables and I did some math based on the IRS deductions that we can get for residential commercial property in order to come up with our cost of recovery that's taken each year. Now, you'll notice that first year it was $5,000. It's a little bit less because you can only write off half the year because we're in the month of June. So you can't write off the first portion of the year. You can only write off the last 6 months of the year. Then from there, year 2, 3, and 4, I wrote off $9,890 for those years because we're going to hold them for 12 months out of the year. We're going to write off every single month. Then finally, I assumed in year 5 that you're going to write off 11 and a half months Due to the rule of mid-month convention, you can only write off 11 and a half months in a year of disposition. So ultimately, I took those rules into account and came up with the cost or recovery numbers. Now, it's important that you use the assessor's value and that percentage of the improvements on the property based on the assessor's value, because there's a defendable basis. In other words, very simply put, if the IRS calls you and goes, hey, how did you come up with that you could write off $9,000 a year on this property? Well, very simply put, the land's worth $900,000. According to the assessed value, the improvements are worth a little over $100,000. Well, based on that percentage, I add those two numbers together, the assessed value and the improvements, and I get a total amount, and then I divide the assessed value by the total assessed value to come up with the percentage that we can take off for our cost or recovery. And now, because I've used the assessor's value, sure enough, I've got something that is a defendable basis that I can use to stand on to defend why I'm taking off this cost recovery. It's very simple. It sounds complex, but it's very, very simple. Now, essentially from there, guys, we are going to move right along to the amortization of loan costs and fees. Those loan costs at $24,000 can't all be written off in the first year. It has to be written off over the life of the investment. For our purposes, we've assumed a 5-year life of the investment. That's $4,800 a year. And then we've got taxable income. So essentially, we're going to take our net operating income. We're going to subtract out the interest that we're not good, the tax write-off for interest, which is $77,417. We're going to take out our cost recovery, which was $5,358. We're not paying on taxes on that either. We're also going to take out the amortized loan cost, which is $4,800. We're not paying taxes on that amount either. That's going to leave us with a real estate taxable income of $32,425. And then I assumed a 37% tax bracket. Obviously, it can be a lot lower. All that said, we're only paying taxes on $11,997 for this investment in year one. Now, you can see the escalations in years 2, 3, 4, 5, and even year 6. And I took the time to calculate year 6 so that we could come up with resale projections in the future, which we're going to go over here shortly. Now, let's see how this property plays out as far as cash flow. All right, guys, how are the dollars and cents hitting my bank account? Well, in year one, we had a net operating income of $120,000. We had an annual debt service that we had to pay for the loan of $97,230. That's going to leave us with cash flow before taxes of $22,770. That's what's hitting your bank account. Now, we have a tax liability of $11,997, which we just calculated at that 37% tax rate. Therefore, our cash flow after taxes was $10,773 for the first year. Now, you'll see years 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're escalated at that 2% increase. You'll also see that annual debt service stay the same because your monthly payment's not going to change. And ultimately, you're going to see that the cash flow after taxes is going to increase every year until you hit year 5 at $16,359. Now, before you run away going, well, that's not enough money, there are plenty of investments out there that don't produce a ton of annual profits, but appreciate very, very well. We're going to dive into that now. Now, I've ran 3 different scenarios here to kind of play out how this property resells after 5 years. We have a 7.5% cap rate, which is what the current cap rate is on the property. Then we have a scenario at 6.5%. We're going to say it's going to improve by at least 1 point. And then we're going to say it's going to improve even further for a third scenario at 5.5% cap rate. So one of these columns on this worksheet, which we're going to jump into, is going to appreciate, we're assuming everything stays the same, Myrtle Beach values don't improve at all, and we sell this property 5 years up the road. The middle section is going to assume, hey, things got a little bit better, and we sold at a 6.5% cap rate. And then finally, that third scenario is going to say, hey, things got a lot better, and we're going to sell at that 5.5% cap rate. And guys, while we're talking about cap rate, Myrtle Beach, I mean, we had 90,600 people move to our market last year. You know, essentially, we've been the fastest growing market out of the 150 most populated markets in the entire U.S. for 3 years in a row, 3 years running. They are building new construction like it is going out of style here. What's happened is baby boomers want to live at the beach, and they're retiring at the tune of $10,000 per day, and they're moving to Myrtle Beach into Florida, and they figured out that they get more for their money in Myrtle Beach than they do in Florida. So our market is exploding. Our market does not behave like the rest of the market. And it's very quick to see in the appreciation on a lot of our oceanfront condos and a lot of our properties in general, which you're going to see here now. Now, this first section of the alternative cash sales worksheet is going to calculate the adjusted basis. Now, we're going to assume that the basis at acquisition, which was our purchase price, was $1.6 million. Essentially, there were no acquisition cost to include, so we just have a purchase price here. Now, the total cost recovery or depreciation taken over the life of this investment was $44,507. That's going to leave us with an adjusted basis at sale of $1,555,493. All right, so why is that important and significant? Well, basically, the adjusted basis. Now, this term is used by the IRS to define what they believe the value of a property to be worth at any point during its useful life. Basically, it's pretty simple. I'm going to use the example of a car. Suppose we step back in time to 2020 and I buy a brand new Honda Accord for $30,000. Now, every year that I own that car, it's losing value as a result of depreciation, which is wear and tear and economic obsolescence. Today, 2025, say that car is worth $20,000. It's lost $2,000 of value each year for 5 years. I call this the Kelley Blue Book value, and it is exactly the same process that the IRS uses to determine what they believe the real estate asset is worth. Each year, they assume it's losing value for the exact same reason as that Honda Accord: wear and tear and economic obsolescence. Now, at any time, they can tell you exactly what they believe the asset is worth. The original basis, which is what you paid for it, plus the acquisition cost, less total depreciation. This is called the adjusted basis. It's very, very simple. Now, in our example of the Honda Accord, it would be a $30,000 original basis minus $10,000 of depreciation over the total of 5 years equals $20,000 adjusted basis. Now, you're probably thinking, well, who cares? Why is that super important? Well, if you were to sell that asset for $1 more than the adjusted basis, congratulations, you have a gain. Reverting back to the Honda example, if I were to sell that 2020 Honda Accord today for $21,000, I wouldn't think I had a gain. I bought it for $30,000, right? How could I have a gain? Because Kelley Blue Book says that 5-year-old car should have lost a total of $10,000 and should be worth $20,000. But I'm selling it for $1,000 more. And that, my friend, means that I have a $1,000 gain and would be subject to tax. It's that simple and that easy. Just like our Kelley Blue Book example, these commercial investments, they hold value. The IRS is keeping track of it. You've got to keep track of it. So you want to make sure that you have a CPA, a qualified tax professional that can help you out doing and calculating your adjusted basis, or a broker like myself. I'll be more than happy to help you, and we can get it sent over to your CPA. Now, let's just clarify one last point, guys. Now, basically, having a gain to the IRS does not mean that you sold it for more than what you bought it for. Rather, having a gain means that you sold it for more than what the IRS believes it's worth at that point in time. That's the adjusted basis. Now let's go on real quick to calculate the capital gain on the sale, guys. All right, so the sale price in the first scenario is $1,766,520. That assumes that basically I took the year 6 net operating income and I divided it by that 7.5% cap rate to come up with the sales price. When we resell it at this price point, we're saying the market has stayed the same. Nothing's gotten worse. Nothing's gotten better. It's that simple and that easy. Now, we have a cost of sale of $70,661. That's a 4% of the sales price paid to brokers to get the deal done for you. The adjusted basis at sale, which we just calculated, was $1,555,493. That's what the IRS says the property's worth. Now, essentially, we're going to take our sale price, we're going to subtract out our cost of sale, we're going to subtract out our adjusted basis. We're left with a gain of $140,367. Then we're going to take out that cost recovery that we wrote off on the property, and we can see that our capital gain from appreciation is $95,859. We're going to factor into the equation those unamortized loan cost of $24,000 we took over the life of the investment for that 5-year period. And then we'll see that we have an ordinary taxable income left over of $71,859. It's that simple and that easy, guys. Now, in scenario 2, we're assuming that the cap rate increase or decreased to 6.5%. In other words, the property got more valuable. Well, at that sales price, considering the year 6 net operating income, we basically are selling that property at $2,038,292. We got a 4% for broker fees, cost of sale of $81,532. We have our same adjusted basis. The IRS is saying it's worth $1,555,493. So we have a gain of $401,268. We're going to take out our total appreciation we took over, the total depreciation we took over the life of the investment of $44,507. And we're going to be left with a capital gain from appreciation of $356,760. We're going to factor in those unamortized loan costs and take those out. We're left with ordinary taxable income of $332,760. Now, how would you like to make $300,000 when you sell this property after 5 years? Let me tell you, it's going to get even better, but that's also why people consider doing 1031 like-kind exchanges to defer having to pay capital gains tax on investments like this. Now, finally, we're going to say things got really good. Things got better. The market appreciated just like it's appreciated over the last 10 years. And that cap rate is going to drop to that 5.5%, which I think is completely plausible given our current economic circumstances in Myrtle Beach, absolutely all day long. Again, that sale price is $2,408,890. Your cost of sale, 4% for broker's fees, was $96,356. Your adjusted basis, again, was $1,555,493. That's basically what the IRS is saying the property's worth. Now you've got a gain of $757,042. We take out our cost recovery, our depreciation we wrote off over the life of the investment, and we're left with a capital gain from appreciation of $712,534. Guys, you got to take out those amortized loan costs that we experienced over the life of the investment for 5 years. That's 2% of the loan cost at $24,000. And you're left with ordinary taxable income to the tune of $688,534. Man, you sure can make money with commercial real estate in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There's no way around it. I believe that the final scenario, that 5.5% cap rate, is completely believable, totally doable right here in the North Myrtle Beach market. So finally, guys, we need to do the calculation of sales proceeds after tax. That's how this thing is going to hit your bank account. That money hitting your account, your sale price in the first scenario at that 7.5% cap rate was $1,766,520. Cost of sale again was $70,661. Your mortgage balance that you have to pay, that you've got left on that mortgage, was $1,143,407. Yes, your sales proceeds before tax. If you take your $1.7 million, you minus out your brokerage fees, you minus out your mortgage, you're left with $552,452. Your ordinary income at that 37% was $26,588. Your straight line cost recovery recapture tax, that is going to be 20%. In other words, the government says, hey, you can write off for depreciation, X amount of dollars, but we're going to want, when you sell that property, we're going to want 20% of that back. That's what this is for. That's going to come out to $8,901. And then your total, your tax on capital gain, which is going to be 25% of the capital gain you experienced on the property. Again, that's a capital gain recapture tax. The government is saying, hey, I want 25% of your gain because we gave you all these great write-offs this whole time. Essentially, is going to be $23,965, and then your sales proceeds after tax is going to come to $492,988. Essentially, you've got that $552,452. You're going to subtract out the tax savings. You're going to subtract out the tax straight line recovery. You're going to subtract out the tax on capital gain. And you're going to be left with $492,998 hitting your account if the market doesn't improve at all. And you fast forward to it getting a little bit better with a 6.5% cap rate, you're seeing $662,020 hit your account when you sell this property 5 years from now. And then again, finally, if things do like I predict they will do, we're talking $871,927 hitting your bank account by owning and operating this for 5 years and reselling it. With our market posed to grow like it's growing, I think it's a smart move. Now, finally, guys, I want to cover your net present value. So let's look at these cash flows and see how they compare against a 10% hurdle rate. Well, guys, your first year, you're coming out of pocket with $424,000 to get into this investment. Year one, you're seeing $7,675 come in. Year two, $10,561. Year three, $11,775. Year four, $12,991. Year five, $14,057. And finally, you're selling at that third scenario that we went over at $871,927 coming in when you sell as properties continue to improve and appreciate in our market. Well, guys, guess what? Guess what that means? I know everybody gets nervous because, oh, well, it's not making a lot of money while I own it. Who cares? You're going to collect in commercial real estate. You're collecting on the back end with all that appreciation. With a 10% hurdle rate, the net present value is still $159,551. In other words, you could buy this property $159,551 cheaper, and guess what? You're still going to make that 10% discount hurdle. You're still going to make that 10% rate. Your IRR, your internal rate of return on this was 17.49%. Excellent. All right, so my other top picks for hospitality properties that are hotel motels. You really don't have anything very close in price. You know, you're at $875,000 for the property below this one in price. The property above this one, you're at $2 million. So I'm going to do our range from that $1.6 million, which is the subject property's price, all the way up to about $2.3 million. So there are 3 other properties I think could be top picks for our market. Now, there's one at $2 million. It is in Little River, so it is just a little bit further north than North Myrtle Beach. They're asking $2 million for it. It is 7,486 square feet. That's over at 1443 Highway 17. Then there's another property that is 2.29. It's 8,592 square feet. It is in Myrtle Beach, so it's not in North Myrtle Beach. And then finally, you have a third property, which I like a lot. It is in North Myrtle Beach. It's in that Cherry Grove area. That's at 3701 Ocean Boulevard North. They're asking $2.35 million on that one. It's 14 units. It's the main market, of course, is Myrtle Beach for our area. The sub-market is North Myrtle Beach. The price is $2.75. The unit count has 14 rooms plus a main office. The price per unit is $196,248. Your size or square footage is 5,952 square feet. It is zoned R4. Resorts are great there. Your acreage is 0.18, and then it does have 10 parking spaces available. Now, additionally, I want to highlight that the subject property in this video, as well as this other property I'm talking about located here in Cherry Grove at $2.75 million, it is fed by several main markets. Our market is fed, of course, by Columbia, South Carolina. It's also fed, which is 2 hours and 45 minutes away. It's also fed by Charlotte, North Carolina, 3 hours and 30 minutes away. It is also fed by Charleston, which is 2.5 hours away, and by the Wilmington area, which is only 1 hour and 16 minutes away. So you can see where there are major markets surrounding us within a very short drive that a lot of people would choose the Myrtle Beach area to vacation in because it's affordable and because it's close by. Now, guys, I get calls, emails, and texts all the time from investors just like you looking to make a move in the Myrtle Beach market. They want to make an investment. They don't know where to put their money. They want to know what the best deals are. They need solid and savvy financial analysis. They need to understand. They need market analysis. They need to understand where they can make the best return on investment. They want to know what the net present value is. They need to know where the best deals are ultimately. and what those specs look like. Is this a value add property? Do I have to reposition it? You know, where can I get a steal? All right, guys, well, that's why you call me. 843-360-1737. I am a CCIM candidate, which means I'm a certified investment member. I can run all kinds of analysis, market analysis. I can get you the detailed information that you need, that boots on the ground information that you can't find online. And trust me, you want a solid and professional agent that knows what they're doing to run this kind of analysis, because that insight can save you from making a very poor investment.